Welcome back to the OTB podcast, the original and still the best New Zealand mountain bike podcast, brought to you by Maxxis Tyres and our friends at Fox Suspension, two of the best combos out there, in my opinion. Joining us here this week in the studio for round two, Chris Vanderkolk. Welcome back, mate.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. That's all I've got.
This feels high end. I mean, after last week's or last episode's debacle of terrible audio, we've got a new setup, so apologies to the fans that couldn't hear that one while they were out riding, like Lester Perry, also joining us.
G'day, boys. Great to be back. I think this is my first one for the year, so hopefully I'm coming in with renewed excitement and a whole bunch of intelligent insight for 2025.
Out.
Yeah. Well, I do see Red Dog's not here, so
I've already docked your pay for last episode and Red Dog's for this one. So
good. Someone's keeping tally.
Yeah, and joining us for, I think, the second episode, special guest Wyn Masters, all the way from the UK.
Yeah, nice and early 7:30 start. So, we're straight into it.
Oh, mate, we appreciate you getting up early for us.
So when are you, you heading
I'm
out for a
already
training
up
ride
for
in a
it now,
second?
so,
or, you just sneaking this in between laps, or what's on this morning?
There's not, normally I'd drop the young fella off for 8 o'clock, but there's not too much on. It's winter in the UK.
Just bulk e-bike laps in the mud.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sun for a while.
Jeez, that must be grim.
That's tough.
Yeah. It's dragging. February always is the worst part, I think.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I've got a quick question just before we go any further.
Yeah.
So I've got the pleasure of being in the studio here and seeing the wall of fame behind KB there. But have you got a Wyn Masters jersey?
I don't have a Wyn Masters jersey. I'm going to have to find
one of my
somewhere.
brother on there, I can see.
Yeah,
There is a classic Ed Masters one up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few. There's the James Rennie, obviously a real stalwart of New Zealand downhill racing.
Are there any jerseys that you'd be willing to just get rid of, like that you just flat out don't want?
Probably lots of them.
Probably from last year, I've got quite a few still left over.
Oh, we'll get one.
I was actually going to send them to my sponsors. Normally, I would send a jersey, but I ordered these photo card things and they never came. So obviously I got scammed £20 for the photo cards.
Good. Someone in Eastern Europe's just like handing out like Wyn Masters photo cards, like basketball trading cards.
Yeah.
Big in Ukraine.
Yeah, they're not worth much to anyone else, but yeah, they would have been good.
Oh man,
£20 though. At least it hasn't really too much broken the bank. Although in saying that, it's probably half your yearly sponsorship income.
Mountain bike industry is pretty grim at the moment.
Maybe at this point, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I reckon we need to get our hands on one of these cards because I reckon they're going to go up in value.
Yeah,
probably one of the few athletes these days who's still doing things like looking after their sponsors and sending out athlete cards at the end of the year and between Instagram posts.
Trying to look after your sponsors
until the post guy just drops the ball on you.
The effort's there. Just send everyone the invoice that you got charged and be like, look, guys, I made these for you, but they didn't turn up. Here's the invoice to prove it.
Well, otherwise you've seen the jersey with nothing else and it's a bit random.
Yeah.
It's just like,
sweaty jersey turns up in the mail.
Yeah. Muddy jersey.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure one of those ones up there actually, I feel like, I can't remember which one it was. Someone had won a race and it was like stunk of beer or like cheap wine or something off the podium. And I think I actually just left it, but there's been a few years, so it probably doesn't smell anymore. I can't remember which one that was.
I've got a lot in New Plymouth on my old room.
Yeah, you got a ton in there, eh? A lot of good ones.
There's probably like 70 in that room.
Holy shit.
They're all pretty old now too.
I mean, even just looking at these ones behind me in the camera, it's like, when did George Brannigan ride for Commensale? That's a while ago now.
That is a
Rock
while
on
ago.
GT.
Yeah.
Fuck, I mean,
doesn't even seem real, George on Commensale.
No, I looked at it the other day and when I was putting them up and I was like, holy shit, I forgot he even rode for them.
Yeah. Until I look at it there, I just had completely forgotten about that era.
Yeah. Hey, man, Cam Cole.
That JK jersey remains, I mean, despite the fact that it's an XC jersey, it still remains one of the coolest kits.
Yeah,
on the wall.
I bought that from the Rotorua Thermal Holiday Park JK out the back of the van sale in about 2003 for I think $40, and I used to go road riding in it.
That's too good.
Did you use the money that I paid you for a pair of goggles?
Probably those would have been later on. So
It's a long time ago.
Classic.
Okay, well, off piece.
I mean, what else would we be doing on here? But I guess my first question is, what the hell have you got going on this year?
Well, at the moment, we're still ticking along like we were before,
Yeah,
with a little more uncertainty. So, still trying to do the similar thing, and with a privateer project and so on.
oh, yeah, sweet.
But yeah, just got a bit of uncertainty. But so far, the checks are clearing. So, yeah.
Is that uncertainty in terms of racing World Cups or just everything?
Yeah, from my side, I'm not stressed to race World Cups really because I feel like they've gone and made it a top 20 qualifier. So, and it is essentially a top 30, but it is a top 20 because you've got 20 cut the first, and then there's a LCQ for 10, and that in that LCQ for 10 will be 5 guys from the top 20 that had problems, like 100%. Like there's always someone downhills. Anything's going to happen, you know. You get a flat tire or you crash, and then those 5 guys are going to take 5 spots already. So then there's only 5 more spots, so it's probably a top 25 qualifier, which is pretty hard to meet. I think my best result last year was 37th, which I was already I was pretty stoked with that. You can't really complain with that.
Yeah,
But then to go, if you want to get in the top 25, you've got to be doing this full time. And I'm half-time dad, so I'm not going to be giving this the full go. I haven't ridden my downhill bike since the last race last year.
That's all right. You've ridden downhill bikes plenty. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just muscle memory, mate. Just muscle memory.
Are you seeing when from where you sit any more interest in the qualifying of the continental series, or do you think it's going to take another couple of seasons before that really starts to pick up and people see that as a good place to be if you're not racing World Cups?
Well, at the moment, it's not really their own series, so it's bits and pieces of other events. So there will still be there'll be a lot of people going to probably the IXS at Fort William, that sort of thing. But then there's going to be a lot of good riders going there as well to get pre-season racing. So you still get the spots. If they're already in a World Cup team, they don't get a spot. It doesn't take a spot that someone else could have for that top 5 qualifying to get into a World Cup.
Oh, I see. So even if you finish 15th, but the top 14 were already in teams, you'd still get essentially that first spot.
Yeah. But there's only 5 spots.
Yeah.
And it only gives you a start at the next race. It doesn't give you a start all year
for the season.
So
there is the Red Bull Hardline wildcard component that's becoming more obvious, which is just take out 2 or 3 riders from the top 5 before the season even starts. So that's creating a lot of opportunities for guys that might not have got into the top 30.
2 or 3 or 6 or so.
Yeah.
Maybe when the Hardline series is 6 rounds, it might be doable. Then I'll be back racing World Cup.
They'll be begging everyone to come back. They're fuck, we've run out of people.
It's like one top 10 guy is out for at least 12 months at every Hardline race. Yeah. And then the World Cup top 10 field is just decimated. And if you're not a Red Bull athlete, then you're not obligated to be there. So, essentially, if you've got a Red Bull helmet and you're a top 10 World Cup racer, you're fucked.
Unless you're like Bernie and you can just say no.
You just say,
or
guys,
Tanya,
don't be stupid.
Yeah.
It's actually while we're on that topic, we might as well carry on that topic because I had quite a few hardline thoughts. Now, I'm going to start it with a hot take. Other than the jumps at the bottom of the course and a couple of decent-sized drops up the top, the track looked no different to any other World Cup track. Most of it looked like a bike park that was just fast.
Just super fast and super straight.
And I think
with some rocks in it.
the biggest thing that took people out was those jumps at the bottom. And apparently the wind was playing massive factors. So...
Interesting.
It's really open at the bottom there, so there's no trees, and the rest of it's in the trees. Then you come out into that open bit, you've just got to be hoping for good wind, I guess. So,
but like, I don't know, from watching from afar, obviously I haven't been there, or Wales, but Wales looked like a proper, what I would think of hardline, like quite technically challenging, some like big, steep Buddha jumps, stuff out of the ordinary, where this was just like flat out.
I think
pretty much the whole time.
That middle part is super flat out, like where they're in the ferns or whatever they call it. But the top part is a lot steeper than the cameras do justice.
It does look pretty steep up there.
Out of that start is super gnarly, and it's really rocky underneath.
Yeah.
So like you can't see really the ground too much on the camera, but it's way gnarlier than it looks. And that like blind fly off thing that they were going off. That's horrible, and it's like just a nasty drop, and then there's rocks
onto
in the
rocky
ground.
Landing.
Yeah,
That's fucking horrible looking.
yeah. In person, even worse.
Asa sent that thing. He went
Yeah,
so
they're like
deep on it.
landing deep off it, and it's blind.
So
I
when do
I
you?
was like, "Oh, it was actually like a pretty sick race."
Yeah.
Like,
do the guys set their bikes up differently for the big jumps and the high speed and stuff? Because this is my.
I think
theory,
they have
it's
to
a
run them a
farm
bit
track
harder
theory.
for the big impact.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My hot take on this is, if they're setting their bikes up for those big jumps, and probably also setting their mind up to deal with those big jumps at the bottom of the track, how much is that affecting their ability to ride comfortably on the like normal downhill stuff or the technical fast downhill section? Because like if you look at Ronan Dunn, he blew that corner, and it wasn't like it was a particularly hard corner, super fast, but
well, I
died.
think we missed the video of what happened before the corner.
right, okay, yeah, thanks.
Because
True.
apparently, maybe before that corner was that rocky bit,
Yeah.
and then that might have been very wild if we had the whole video.
Yeah, right.
So
But-
I did hear, and I haven't seen anything actually come up, but I heard from someone that was there that they think he's broken his pelvis potentially. Fuck. Which sucks because now Mondrake has basically just lost 2 potential winners out of most of the World Cup season.
Probably looking for another fill-in rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They need
KB,
someone
your
with some
results
points,
have been
though.
pretty good lately.
Yeah, but
It-
now
it
it's,
isn't-
it's too late for fill-ins.
Yeah.
It is interesting, eh? Like I remember coming out of Hardline last year. Who did I speak to? Blinky and Brooke, and both of them were like fizzing on the track and just fizzing on the race and that style. They were like, "This is awesome," Like I know Blinky didn't want it to become the new normal, but he was just frothing on it. And certainly everything that you hear from people who've been there, I mean, you're saying as well, when it's an awesome course. It created pretty good racing. It's just the toll that it can take is so high. And I guess to some degree, maybe that's like racing Supercross, like there's always dudes who get out broken every round.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Well, I mean, 50% of the women's field has a nearly career-ending injury.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh, no, there was Elise MP Racing as well, who also didn't finish after she had a humongous crash off one of the drops.
that was
so
terrific.
66% of the field.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Port Eris, man. That sucks.
Like,
Yeah.
Horrible.
I don't know. I'm full respect for them sending it, but I don't know. Someone needs to say what you can and can't do. Maybe if you're in a race team that races World Cups.
Oh, 100%. I mean, 12 months ago, we had this same, was it 12 months ago? We've had this same conversation before, and that, like, if you're hired, especially now with the points scenario, if you're hired to race World Cups, you should be, like, locked and loaded like the roadies are. They're not allowed to go skiing and stuff, Like, if I was a team manager, I'd be like, nah, you're not doing hardline. We need your points to get us into World Cups, and we need you fit because we're paying you to be at the World Cup, not to be hucking your meat, as fun as that may be.
So here's my second hot take on Hardline is if you're a Red Bull athlete, well, maybe not all Red Bull athletes, but Jackson and Asa, do you think, or when do you know, if they have some kind of obligation to do a certain number of Red Bull events, or are those guys just so fucking good and young and keen that they go and do whatever they want?
I think it depends on your contract a little bit, because some people can and can't do, or like some Red Bull athletes don't do many Red Bull events, but the younger ones are probably encouraged more because they're just signed with Red Bull.
Yeah. And now the
But they're
superstars.
also probably, Jackson or Asa is probably going to sign themselves up for the race.
Yeah, that's it.
I could see that.
You got to think though that Red Bull would have they would be paying certain guys to be there more, right? Like Jackson, Asa particularly, he didn't need to go all the way to the bottom of fucking Australia to race that event, other than just being there for the fun of it. Like, surely there's
It's
some
big
money
prize
being-
money as well, though. So it's a lot more prize money than any World Cup. I think it's around £12,000 for the win.
It's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's definitely better than World Cup.
yeah.
And if you're into that kind of racing, then why wouldn't you go and do that? I mean, you want to challenge yourself on some of the gnarliest stuff. Hardline is the place to do it, isn't it?
I guess
So
if
then-
it goes,
so then do you think
well,
we'll see those guys like Asa and Goldston have both said they'd want to do Rampage. Like, fuck it out. If they were serious about that, which it sounds like they would be, and they've obviously got the skills, Rampage, Red Bull would be like, yes, please. We'll give you a wildcard entry just for the clicks.
well, Asa trains in the desert all the time, like so. He's ridden a lot at the Rampage site.
I could imagine Rampage might be where the team managers would draw a line and be like, look, this is a no.
I think Nico will probably be like, "Oh, you can do it if you want," but
Yeah.
Nico's running quite a smaller program to most of the other teams, and
Yeah.
he probably could see the benefit of Asa doing a backflip at Rampage and everyone going crazy.
Martin might step in at that point and say, maybe
Martin's
not.
off now, I think. I
Oh,
think
is he?
He's working
Step
for
back.
Mondraker now, apparently.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
So
Why hasn't
so
that
now
guy
it's
done?
Nico's the actual manager.
Right.
Yeah.
He's going to have a busy year ahead of him.
Oh yeah.
So it's still pretty much just Angel and Asa on there.
And they've got who's the girl from last year killed it?
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah, I've totally lost her name. I know who you're talking about, though. The American
we
one.
need to remember it though.
This is terrible.
Be better, guys.
We'll come back. We'll circle back to this one. Hey,
Quick Google.
there was something I actually meant to mention. We were talking about Ronan with crashing into that rock on race day. That rock had a pad on it.
Did it?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was watching Jackson's run, and I was like, oh, this is the berm. And then I was like, oh, there's a big orange pad on this now.
I'd
So
love
that-
to see a photo of the back of his helmet, eh? He looked like he smashed his head hard.
The noise that it made when he hit that thing was so bad.
It's like a car crash or a motorbike crash. The
Well,
way he hit, you know.
that Arisa's crash, have you guys seen the front-on view of that?
Yeah.
The front-on view is so gnarly. Like the side-on view that I'd seen originally was gnarly, but the front is like, she's actually lucky to be up and walking.
Yeah.
You know, like no doubt.
She,
These are like car crash injuries.
Yeah, hardcore.
yeah, what was it like? Broken neck, broken back, broken wrist. It was not good.
But that's the thing, though, is that, like, I still can't get past the fact that she just did that on a massive jump. Like, it's not like she doesn't know how to hit jumps. She, the footage of her from Dream Track, she crushes it, right? She's just not carrying enough speed into a giant double.
Well,
There's
particularly
something wrong
also,
there,
I mean, she had done it. She'd obviously done it a bunch of times too. So must have just been either a slight breeze or just had the speed wrong.
Looked
I
like
think
she tried to pedal up the lip though as well.
Yeah, she was
True,
coming in.
yeah.
You could see
Yeah.
there was a bit of panic, like, I don't have enough speed here.
Surely we're past the point of jumps just not being able to be cleared. Like that to me, the jumps are fucked.
Nah,
Well,
I don't know. Those jumps looked pretty good, I think. You just had to have your speed 100% dialed.
Did you see Ed Gabriel's crash on that
Yeah.
same jump? That was
Apparently-
horrific.
Apparently, he's like shattered his ankle.
Yeah, that was
I'm
gnarly as
surprised.
well. I wonder if there was a slight headwind or something like that coming in for them. Who knows?
It must
I
have been.
think that same Edgar's crash, I think it was the same one. They red flagged it real late after he'd crashed, and Brosnan came in and had cased the shit out of it as well and destroyed his wheel.
Oh,
So
See, there's
no way.
So if that's technically 3 people, like, okay, Brosnan got away with it, but he's blown a wheel up by casing a jump. Like, that's 3 people out of 23 or something that came up short on a fucking giant double at a high-profile Red Bull race. That's just wrong. That doesn't stack up for me.
well, then you had the finish line jump. I think it was that Chaos came up short on to his front wheel and went over the bars, and then. It sounds like Ollie Davis has done a number to himself. I don't know what he's actually done, but it sounds like he's potentially missing some racing as well from
Broken collarbone and something else.
seating run crash.
No way.
So
That's
how many
crazy.
people did this race take out?
3, 4, 5, 6.
6 from a start list of what, 26?
Yeah.
Those are pretty high numbers. And then if you take just the people who are racing World Cups out of that, right? So like take out the free riders and guys that aren't racing World Cups this year, you're left with about 10-ish people.
Yeah.
So it's taken out like probably something like 30% of the World Cup guys that went there are not racing World Cups this year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, it's not good.
No.
Miranda Miller posted an interesting thing. Must have been just after Hardline had finished on Instagram. And she said, my hope for 2025 is that we stop downplaying major injuries in our sport. Last year, I joked that 2024 felt like a year of normalizing broken backs. Blah, blah, blah. But she makes some interesting points in her piece about, we've, like you're saying, when these are like car crash level injuries that everybody who crashed in those scenarios are lucky to be like walking full stop. But it's just become this like normal thing now where we kind of, especially around Hardline, but so many things, it's like, oh yeah, cool. Come back strong, come back quick.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, this, like, at what point do you draw the line and go, this is just actually going, I don't know. I guess it's like moto, right? Dudes get broke off every time, but
I feel like they're a bit smarter at most of them not trying to push back so fast.
Yeah, put it this way. How many guys at the top of the field in Supercross were at fucking Freestyle Kings down here in Nelson last weekend?
oh well, that's the thing, right? That's how I always compare these things. It's like, would you take a top level Supercross rider and go and do
Tyler Berriman's event?
well, yeah, something. I mean, that is a real good parallel.
Yeah.
It is different, obviously, but there's some parallel there.
Because Josh Hill does it and he does Supercross. So
Yeah, true. Yeah,
And that's the thing.
possible. Yeah.
It's not to say that you can't, and it's certainly not for us to say that anyone shouldn't. But like, when that many guys can't race World Cups this year and girls because they went to Hardline, come on.
The same debate does go on in Supercross though, because they have the off-season races in like Paris. They got the World Supercross and everything now, and there's always been that kind of debate of going there for the money because they're big start money to go to those races. And you had guys who, especially the guys who trained under Alden Baker, he wouldn't let them go because he's like, nah, you're just going to go there and end up getting hurt. So they were stopped for going for a real long time. And same kind of thing, really.
Okay, so to flip it on its head then, when if they took that course or some of those jumps and some of those features that make it Hardline and built a World Cup race course like that, like what do you think the feedback will be? Will people be like, yes, we've been waiting for a World Cup course like this? Would they be like, this is stupid?
You can't send juniors and women over all those jumps.
But Hardline, Red Bull invites everyone to do that.
I know. But then they also want to do it, like, so the other thing is like, for me, if I was in Eris's position and I'm 18 years old, I'd be like, yeah, can I come? Like,
yeah.
the athlete can't decide.
yeah.
Not not if you're 18 or 20 years old. You're going to be, of course, you're going to be there. You'll be like, oh, I can make my name. Like you see what someone else has done. Like the likes of, for Eris, if you would say like the likes of Gracie, she's made her name on Hardline.
It's true.
And she's now like this Hardline legend. Eris rode the whole course, so she should be that, but she didn't get to ride in the race.
Yeah, but
You know?
Eris also made her name by being a junior who looks like she was most likely to threaten Valley this year at World Cups, right? So, like,
And then
Eris probably
everyone
already
wanted to
had
see
that
it.
name.
Yeah.
But I think the exposure from Hardline is even a lot bigger than the World Cup. Like if it goes well.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't go well, then
What
no
else do
one
we
sees
have-
anything before you
what else-
don't even race.
What else do we have going on at this time of the year? Everyone's sitting around with nothing to watch. And you're kind of hanging out, and then Hardline comes around at Tassie, and you're like, fuck yeah, downhill race to watch. So it probably gets a good viewership.
Yeah, massive. I think bigger than
It'd be bigger than a World Cup. I'm almost positive. Just the Red Bull machine.
Free
alone,
Red
like-
Bull TV, it's streaming on YouTube. Like, it's
Yeah, I
so
think-
easy to find.
last year it was bigger than Rampage as well, I think.
Oh,
Wow.
really? Shit.
Some of the Hardline.
So you can see why people
viewership.
want to go.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how bad, like, the Santa Cruz team managers and higher-ups, they probably just held their breath for the entirety of Jackson's run? Just like, come on, please, God, this is the race last year. Why we haven't seen you for 12 months?
Maybe they didn't watch it.
Yeah. But the flip side of that as well, though, and this is the other side of like a gnarly preseason race like that, is that Jackson looked so good. And he's going to come into first round absolutely swinging, right? He's a step ahead now because of that.
Yeah. But then Asa was better. Like
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And he's younger.
Yeah, that's legit.
Ace's seeding run was still faster than finals.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you something else that's exciting to see. Tohoto's bike looked sick.
yeah, it was a good result for Toto.
Yeah, it was a
looked
good
like it was
result.
working
Yeah.
so well. And there were some bikes that weren't working.
Yeah.
Like, that just clearly couldn't deal with the speed and how rough it was. But that zero was ripping.
Yeah. No, he was hauling.
Yeah, the Colombian kid on it as well, Sebastian Holgen, and they went 6 and 7, I think.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, that's me.
that's pretty good.
Anna Newkirk was the other frameworks rider that we couldn't remember her name before.
That's it.
Sorry, Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Anna. I'm sure she doesn't listen.
I should remember more than you guys. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Hey, speaking of like Jackson and just how gnarly these guys are, I don't know if you guys caught down towards the bottom. They kind of just before they popped out of the trees, he pulled that like inside over, kind of like up over a berm that I think like Connor, Brosnan, and Asa I think were sort of the only other riders. Maybe Hill did it as well. I can't remember for sure. But I was watching Jackson's helmet cam, and he gets to the bottom, and he's talking to Brosnan. And Brosnan's like, you rode that inside line. He's like, I saw you do it. I watched it in your run, and I knew I had to do it. So that was an instant decision at the top of the hill. Like, fuck, I'm just going to not even go to this outside of the berm that I've been riding every other run, and I'm just going to ride this complete mystery of an inside
So
line.
good.
He's on another planet A.
Into a huge road gap too.
Yeah.
So like can't mess it up. He
And then
didn't know what was on the other side.
Nah, just completely blind. And then Laurie, his teammate, goes, is that the first time you hit it? And he's like, yeah.
So crazy, eh? Like
Yeah.
he wouldn't have even slowed up to eye it in practice.
No.
You know, like
I think
That is-
that
that's
basically,
awesome.
I think like Connor and Troy and that had just sat on it the whole time, waiting and
Yeah.
waiting and knew what
I-
was there.
I heard that they asked if they could ride it on the finals morning, and no one else knew. And BK's not too stoked about it because he thinks the hardline thing is like everyone shares. So
Poor Bernie.
it
it's
cost him
a
a podium.
race.
Cost him a podium. It got Brosnan the podium, which probably made the race for Australia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%
yeah.
would have, eh? Yeah.
But apparently Sam Hill, Troy Brosnan, Conor Ferrin, it was their line, and
Yeah.
maybe Dan Booker as well. I don't know if he
Oh,
What
he,
happened to,
he got a flat tyre.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a flat. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't
So he
sure what
probably
happened.
he would have had a flat by that point, I think.
But I was stoked because I've not seen a race for a long time where people hold a line up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Because everyone's got lines, people everywhere.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. Like, whoa, there's a completely different line. And like, normally watching a World Cup, everyone does nearly exactly the same thing now. It's like a ski race.
Yeah, that's true. Eh?
So I watched the whole race pretty much like with my heart in my throat because friend of ours, Snowy, ex-GT mechanic, we were hanging out with him at the weekend over the weekend at a wedding, and we are talking about hardline and people getting hurt and all that sort of thing. And then he sends me a message on the morning after, or the morning later on in the morning of the race, and I hadn't watched it yet. And it just said hardline claims another one, or something like that. Or hardline strikes again. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something real ominous, and I figured it was to do with the actual race runs. And so I sat there through the whole race like, this guy, okay, that's a clean run, that's a clean run, that's a clean run, and it gets down to the end, and it's Jackson and Asa, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, which one of these poor bastards is the one that gets hurt? Because I'd stayed off all the socials and everything because I just wanted to watch it. And then Jackson gets down with a clean run, and I'm like, fuck, it's Asa that gets hurt. And then he has a clean run, and I'm like, hang on. So I had to go back and look, and he'd sent me the video of Ronan Dunn's crash from practice.
No way. Let's go.
It is a shame that we lost Ronan before the start. But
oh, man. He would have been flying.
He probably would have gone to battle with those other two for sure.
No doubt.
He wasn't happy with the seeding run, so... and he's done way more work than anyone this winter. So he probably was going to come out swinging, but then he came swinging maybe 2 runs too early.
Yeah, he came swinging at a giant boulder with his head.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have...
that has to do something.
Yeah, I think from the guys talking to it sounded like there's maybe some broken ribs or something as well. But yeah, I mean, if he's done something to his pelvis, that could be real nasty.
Yeah, that's no good at all.
So, but then about normalizing injuries, he said it wasn't injuries and it's nothing really, like in his post.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like none of these guys are going to want to say, I can't race World Cups this year because I went to hardline. Like if any of those guys did that in the first race of the World Cup, like they would at least be able to say, I'm out for the rest of the season. But now they're saying I'm not even in the season.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. I feel like there's a defensiveness that's going to come with I can't race this year because I crashed a hardline.
Yeah.
When's the first round? Is it April?
May, I think.
May,
Yeah.
right. So
there's a bit of time.
It depends how erect he is. If he hasn't, I mean, he might have cracked his pelvis, which, to be fair, it's not necessarily terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's pure speculation from a rumor I heard as well. So, I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure he's fine.
He might have broken his fingernail and he's all good.
Yeah, he's all right.
You're watching the impact of the crash. He's lucky he didn't break his back or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, how hard he hit his head, that was the thing to me, is it's like, what's he done to his head? But
he still got up kind of after,
he kind of
so
walked it off.
he didn't get unconscious
No.
straight.
If he was wearing a D2, he'd be dead.
or an edge helmet.
Anything from back then?
Plastic, fantastic.
Oh, thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else hardline? Have we covered that off pretty well? I feel like we've hit all the main points of people who got hurt.
Well, we can probably... Gracie was, again, insane. Looked super relaxed on that stuff.
Unreal.
Yeah, that's true.
Even
She
on that
still
last picture.
She still put down a really solid time for coming in, not having to actually race anyone, just to do a top to bottom run was all she needed to do. But she still went pretty fast.
Yeah, it's impressive.
See, I think there's a bit of a weird thing there though, that part of the story that they create around the women's race is, women coming and completing the whole track, etc., because it's so gnarly. And this is where I think it gets a little bit unclear whether it's a really high profile, good money, really good preseason race, or a bit of a spectacle. Because if they took some of that stuff out of it and just made it a really, really sick downhill track that didn't have any out of the ordinary jumps in it, and could attract more of the women's elite field and more of the men's elite field, then you would have a pretty epic preseason race that's got enough time between the World Cup starting and that race to recover from some injuries. But I think if you're a woman at the moment, you're going... Like Nina pulled out, right? She's in New Zealand and she goes, not doing that. But you got to wonder whether
she was actually ever intending on riding, though.
She was, yeah.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Well,
But
smart
then-
move.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder if if it wasn't half free ride track.
Yeah.
would
Valley
you
was
have
there,
done
but Valley only rode a few jumps. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Valley just took some stuff off and had no intention of racing.
But she's smart because she knows.
She knows what's important.
Yeah. But
Well,
she was in
Tani's the same, right? She
Yeah.
said, "I'm not ready for this," and fair play.
yeah, she wasn't happy on the bike yet. is
Yeah.
what she said. Yeah. But and
I
Valley
guess
was in the booth for it.
Yeah.
So she did sound like she kind of wanted to be there doing it, but I don't know if she would take the risk to do that. You know, like I think she's probably past the point of being 20 and being like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I
She's
mean,
also looking at the season this year, going, "Sweet, got this tied up."
yeah, totally.
her paycheck is centered around a World Cup series. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Chris, just on what you're saying about taking out, if you took out the big stuff and you could have it as a legit down and winner track to a whole bunch more people, the beauty of Hardline is that the average punter knows about big jumps, but they don't know about downhill race. Like you were saying earlier, when that top stuff, even we're looking at that going, oh, the top's not that bad, it just looks all straight and whatever. But Wyn's like, no, in the flesh, it's actually super gnarly, big rocks in that. And I think that would be the trap that you fall into if you had it as a more like downhill style track without all the big jumps and gaps and whatever. The average punters who are probably making up a majority of the viewership, they wouldn't get it. And then that'd be it,
So, but that's the point though, is that so the average punter is the guy that's buying Red Bull cans, and it's like, and
that's
so
what's
if you were
selling it.
being really critical, which I'm going to have a crack at being, it's like, well, any riders who went to Hardline who are not being paid by Red Bull like an appearance fee to be there,
They all are. So everyone's paid some sort of appearance.
and cover their flights and all the rest of it.
It's
or
not much money. But they get, I think it's £2,000 maybe. But if you say you're Josh Bryceland from the UK, that maybe just covers his travel.
Yeah, and so this is the bit, right? So, okay, so that
Bryceland was there.
So he might break even, right? So that Red Bull can sell more cans. But does that profile that event actually create, because it's appealing to the punters, good big jumps, does that actually benefit Cannondale and Josh Bryceland much at all? Like, I get that there's photos and all the rest of it, but
The content's way stronger there than anywhere else. So even like Bernard's vlogs, he gets way more views from Hardline than other events.
yeah, it probably just shows how out of touch I am with social media.
But then
you heard of
those
YouTube?
are only for 1 week, like that value is for 1 week. Like
dopamine
next week there's another event and it's on to the next thing.
But again,
Yeah,
at the
so-
moment, although I guess we've got like natural selection coming up this weekend, and Crankworks is about to kind of come around, but it's like this is the first of the year really in terms of a big event, so it's sort of like you get that first cab off the rank of getting some media out there.
But so, Lester, by that same logic, if it's like appeals to the punter, and big profile and Red Bull and all the rest of it, it's like, well, how many of these guys going, how can I get an entry to natural selection?
Well, it's natural selection's not a race, though.
Selected.
Yeah, but
It's
neither is Hardline for half of the field.
Well, but that's not what it's about, though, is it? For half the field.
Also, Hardline is invite only, so you have to be invited. Like Blinky wanted to go, but he didn't get the invite this year because they're doing it geographically now, rather than.
Interesting.
So they choose. That's why there's certain number of South Americans and so on. Like they're trying to do like a global field.
Well, key markets for them. They're like, right, this is where we need reach coming from, so let's get the guys from South America, and
Yeah, interesting.
makes sense. It's very clever. Very,
I mean, the
cool.
good thing, right, is that you've got every credible media outlet in mountain biking, i.e. the OTB podcast.
Yeah.
The core fans are into it, whether that we're into it by poking holes in it or what. And then you've got the massive fan base of YouTubers and all the rest of it who are all into it.
Moi
So
Moi
it's-
TV. He was on site.
Yeah. I was watching that today, actually. That was cool.
We've
How good
we've
is that,
said
right?
Red
So
Bull
you can be
137
there
times. They don't pay us anything.
without riding a bike and get the same benefit of being someone there risking their life riding a bike.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow, yeah.
Patrick, what is the fucking doing?
He
YouTube
said
clips?
He said to me, it reinforced the fact that he's not willing to take those risks.
Smart.
There you go, right?
Fair play. Yeah.
And he doesn't need to
Mine.
get the benefit of being there.
Yeah.
Value's
Yeah,
the
well,
same.
he made his videos every day
Yeah.
and watched some insane riding. So he's frothing, and then he still goes riding before and after each day when he's filming. So it's like still a good day.
What a sick trip.
Jack's smart.
Next year, boys. Next year.
Going just
I'd
for
love
the
to see
content.
Jack racing, to be honest, but I do understand his point because he's had quite a few injuries over the years.
So here's some
You're not
here's some
keen for
view
a
numbers.
car crash list of injuries at that point.
Here's some view numbers from Moi Moi TV over the weekend. First hit 68,000, day 2
Yes.
53, day 3 35, qualifying 68, race day 26,000.
Yeah.
So
But those will keep going up as well.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go, right? It's not a race. It's a sideshow. It's a media event. And and those guys, like, as we get back to, okay, so you might get your costs paid at $2,000 paid to be there, and it costs you $2,000 to be there. And if you're spending your whole time practicing, prepping for the race, and you can maybe pump out a few Instagram posts, Red Bull's getting way more benefit from you being there, so they can put on a show than you're getting from being there. Whereas
But
if you turn up and you're not racing, you can leverage all the benefit that Red Bull's creating.
The queue of people lining up to sign up for it is longer than
Yep.
the ones that are not,
I think
Yeah,
the queue
yeah,
of
true.
people signing up to be media partners is probably pretty long as well. Kerry, where are we at?
Also, say you have a sponsor. If you're like George or someone who's not racing World Cups this year,
Yeah.
if he's like, I'm doing Hardline because he podiumed last year, so he gets a start at this one,
And he was
and
flying
he was
as well.
riding pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Shout out to George.
Yeah.
If you're like him, he can sell that to his new sponsor, and they'll be like, "Whoa, Hardline, we need to get someone there. That's perfect."
Yeah.
And did you
Yeah,
see
100%.
in George's story, like on the whole of the transition office was watching his race run? I
That's
was like,
sick.
that's pretty sick. He's just signed for them, and everyone's like invested,
They're all stoked. Yeah.
That's where I reckon like Hardline and like the Crankwork Summer Series is there's a genuine category there for guys who like being there and winning or podium those events is super, super valuable. Like, I think that's legit. Like, that's fucking awesome for George as well. But, like, be a hardline specialist. And be able to throw a wicked, like a sick whip over those jumps, but also be fast through the technical stuff.
Well, I think that's the new norm for a guy like George who's backed off from World Cup racing. He's going to race hardlines and crankworks.
100%. And he doesn't have to worry about he'll probably arguably ride better because he's not worried about what it means for his World Cups.
Yeah.
You still have to risk it a lot though to get a good enough performance each year to get invited back next year. Like, pretty hectic amount of risk involved.
Yeah, it was fast, man. Like the speed of those top 5 guys. You're like, this is still some very high level racing. This isn't like a turn up and do an 80% run and do all right.
Yeah. I think those days have gone, KB.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
They're long gone.
100 or nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, I had some questions for Wyn around World Cup racing. I wanted to ask, well, last episode we kind of went through some of the key team changes, and I wanted to get some of your thoughts on just a few that I pulled out.
Yeah.
Loris to Commensal, good move? Sideways or?
Loris is always chasing something the last few years, so that's probably the team where it'll answer any questions if it was the bike or someone.
Yeah, I guess
he
he's going
probably
to
wanted to tick that box, I guess.
He's going to have so many. That bike clearly has so many options they can try, and they kind of just
maybe
throw the
too
whole,
many sometimes.
Yeah. Do you think that might get him a bit lost? Maybe.
Well, I think previously he got lost. He had, I think at one point he had 12 wheel sets with all different spokes and different rims and stuff. So that, like, I don't know how you can go up a downhill track and be like, oh yeah, this wheel set's not right. Like, I know what's a good wheel set just from experience because before I was for example, before I used to race on stands, and now I'm on Crank Brothers rims, which have like more flex in the front wheel.
Oh,
Like
the
it's a lighter carbon
synthesis
layer,
rims, yeah.
and the synthesis carbon, yeah, and it's like the difference is huge. And then UC Commensale team is now on those wheels, and
Interesting.
they used to be when they first started with Envy, they'd be on the Crank Brothers ones blacked out
Huh.
quite often.
Interesting.
But now Envy's caught up, and they do the similar thing where the lighter layup and less spokes in the front. So that difference is huge. But having 12 sets, I'm like, how can you go up, ride potentially a track that might be wet or like dusty, and then come down and be like, oh, try the other one?
Yeah, I mean, tracks will change from run to run,
Yeah.
especially like in a World Cup practice when between your run, there's been 80 more people over it.
I would get lost. I would be very lost at that point. I'd be like, which one was good?
We left one down the road.
It's a bit Minari-esque. Like I remember one point, like when Ratboy was still on Syndicate and was riding pretty well, and I think it was someone talking about them, and they're like, Greg's always looking for something, whereas Josh gets on a bike and just gets comfortable with the bike and rides the bike. He just adapts to ride the bike.
Which is two completely different approaches, and maybe they both work, but I imagine working around the bike and getting to the best potential of the bike without having to change everything. Probably
12 wheel sets.
Yeah, is better. Because imagine the amount of time to test 12 wheel sets.
Yeah, it'd be weeks.
Like downhill runs take ages, especially if you don't have a fast gondola, which most places don't.
Is he also doing like take the front from one set and the rear from a different set? Because I don't know the maths on that, but that's a fuckload of variations. Like, he's on the thousands at that point, eh?
I was thinking that, and then you go into like, okay, we're going to do this flip chip, this thing, 5 mil higher in the BB.
Oh man!
But I'm going to change this front wheel, and then I'm going to, and then we'll throw in some different tire compounds.
No, but you can only change one change at a time, though. So that's a lot of downhill runs.
One at a time. Yeah,
exactly. That's like.
Also, like how many spares of that 12? Because if you got, what do you carry? 2 or 3 sets of a wheel set, so he's got 12 times 3.
Truth be told, he's actually still
van.
testing. He's actually still testing his original Trek setup.
Yeah, he's still got Bontraker rims on.
Yeah.
Oh,
still working through the options.
How do you reckon he'll go with Emery as a teammate?
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a good battle. I'm excited. Like, it's very similar to Marquez and Pecco in MotoGP for this year. So it's like put the two top dogs in the same team.
Yeah. Do you know if Emery and Loris
One will suffer probably.
Do you know if they're friends or are they just? I guess they're cool enough with each other. They're on the same team.
I think the way the sport's gone, everyone's kind of friends now compared to what it maybe like. I don't know if it's more than it was, but it feels like it is a bit closer than it is. You look at the Frenchies; they're always cuddling each other and all sorts. Like
there's a lot of hugging in downhill.
Yeah, it's a lot of love going around.
Yeah. A lot of shared love.
I think Emery is like just pretty good guy. So
yeah,
he's an all-out killer on the track, but off the track, he's a pretty level-headed guy. Like they're going to be pretty good.
He seems
Loris
like
probably will be on his own program, I imagine. But then you kind of have to be if you're going to have 12 wheel sets. So,
how much money must that muck-off team be paying out just in salaries
and wheels?
Well,
it has to be over $1 million.
With like Loris, Emery, Miriam as their 3 key riders, plus some juniors, and the Dylan Maples.
Brothers. Yeah, and the Elrin brothers, like Max will come up into the top team pretty soon, and then he'll be battling with Emery and Loris. Like he's clearly fast enough already, and he has insane style. Like he scrubs off everything in his race runs for some reason.
Will that possibly be the biggest budget team now?
They might be fighting Norco because they've got about 17 riders, I think.
True, Norco will be up there. Yeah,
Norco probably maybe. I don't know if Commensale might spend less because they're spending it like quite wisely, and because everything's in Europe already, it's all set up. Like
yeah, true.
if you're setting up from square one, that's so expensive.
Rider salaries, I guess they
It's
could
probably
be the
the
top.
highest rider salary, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Who do you reckon is the highest paid downhill rider right now?
It has to be Loic.
Yeah,
He's got to be on some good money
It's-
from so many years on that team and just being like the number one.
Well, I've
rider
heard the
so
rumours
long.
around 650, but that's rumours, so
Yeah,
can that go up or down? Who knows? But
Fuck, what a legend.
it's still
He
a
earns
good
it, though.
deal.
He deserves that money. He's
Any-
been
100%.
he's such
It's
a stay
not
up.
much money
He's
for
so
what he
known.
does.
anyone
say.
at that level earns it. When you look at the money that goes out in MotoGP, motocross, anything like that,
Yeah.
that's there's guys who are making that much money for wearing gear.
Yeah.
You know,
Road
and-
cycling is the example.
road.
Like,
Oh,
the average World
MVP
Tour
is like
contract in
6.5
road
million.
cycling is half a mil now,
Yeah.
euros.
the average world tour.
crazy.
yeah, but it's pretty slanted though, eh? It's like
Yeah.
Falls
Yeah,
on
but
the-
then-
being so it's pretty slanted. It's like the top 40% are making, the top bracket of the
Yeah,
top 40% of riders are making like 80% of that money or something like that, though. But still,
But there's a lot more riders in that group. So then the
That's true.
average, like back end riders making 100 to 200,
yeah.
which is the highest, the top level of downhill.
The crazy thing I heard the other day in road is like a lot of these newcomer, these 18, 19-year-old wonder kids that are coming through, they're being signed to obviously long-term contracts, but for like multiple millions of dollars
Millions, yeah.
or millions of euros
Yeah.
straight off the bat, like
Yeah.
first contract pretty much.
But
That's
it's
insane.
going to be interesting as well. Like, I mean, downhill's so far away from this, but like with F1 or motorsports, those young guys, they get backed from a young age, and people effectively invest in them to pay their way to the F1 essentially. But then the agreements are that they get paid back. So like they're essentially they'll put $100,000 in a year or
funding them.
yeah, and then once they hit F1, they're claiming 50% of their salary. So like, there's a couple of guys that have got there recently, I think, and I can't remember what it is, but there's someone who got to F1, and then
Your
They-
Dual Track puts in a lot in New Zealand for
oh yeah,
Lawson, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Lawson's
but
he's got
Lawson's
those
backed
deals.
by David Dicker, right? The guy down in North Canterbury.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the same deal. But there was someone from F1. Essentially, he defaulted on his contractual obligations to pay back his backer.
Ah.
He's out the door. Like, imagine that. Imagine getting to F1 and being like, "Thank fuck, I've made it.
At least
Now I've got to pay off my
our
debts."
sport does not have that yet.
Yeah.
No.
'Cause that's not good.
No,
But
that's bad.
it's going a little bit that direction.
But that you got to wonder though if the smaller field, higher profile for each rider starts to foster a bit more, like, at least at the top of the sport, more money for more of those guys.
But the profile won't be higher if they have to pay too much to watch it and no one watches it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
That can be a problem. We've gone well off us on a tangent, which is good. But Richie Rude just announced he's racing downhill. How do you reckon that's going to go? I'm excited for it.
Well, he's all in on it. He's in British Columbia training on downhill now, so it's good to see.
Yeah.
I think he should have done it for a while, really. So
Yeah.
and Martin Mays is back in as well. So it's like
Yeah, that's
kind of
true,
they're
actually.
gonna be interesting who comes out on top out of those two.
Yeah, because
How
I
many,
mean,
how many
like,
sets of wheels do you think Richie's carrying?
Richie smashes a lot of wheels. Probably not as many as Loris.
He's got 10 rears.
yeah. You only
It's-
need one front.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, like, Martin won a World Cup. He's won a downhill World Cup in the past. And then, he's in with the new Orbea FMD team. And then
Other thing interesting there is if Kilmurray will be coaching him or not. I've asked him already. He said he's
true.
not sure yet. Yeah.
Oh, Kilmurray's
Yeah.
not sure. Or
He's not sure if he'll be coaching him yet, but he's got to have a discussion. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see those guys actually come in. Like, I mean, Richie had a good Mont Saint Anne. I think he was like maybe top 15 or something
Yeah.
at the end of last year. And I mean, he's a beast. If he's focused on racing downhill, he could be right in that like top 10.
he already looks like Amory did in his prime. So
Yeah.
he's got the strength to hold on to the horse.
Yeah.
No doubt about that.
That's going to be a good watch, eh?
Yeah.
Andy Kolb to YT.
Yeah, it's a good move for Andy, I guess. He's probably got paid well from that one.
Yeah.
So
I don't see the bike
good
being
team.
like better or anything. You reckon? Like that Atherton looks like it
Nah,
works pretty
really
well
good
for
bike.
them.
Both bikes are good. So
Yeah.
he's not going up or down.
Yeah. But I'm sure his paycheck's gone up.
Definitely quite a bit, I think, because it's quite hard to sell bikes at the moment if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, especially if they're really, really niche bonded carbon lug
Yeah.
downhill bikes.
It's true. Everyone's favourite accountant, Benoit, moving over to Scott. Probably much of the same.
Yeah, I think it's he's probably getting paid well from that, and I think he'll benefit the Scott team massively because
Yeah.
they won't have ever had a rider that pushed them so much.
I feel like
They
they've
also
been
won't have
waiting.
ever had a rider that's working in the accounts department. Like just getting the numbers on.
Those two jobs.
That's right. That's value right there.
That's
Maybe
awesome.
he can help sort out the CEO issue they've been having. With
He'll,
who's
Yeah.
actually running the-
he'll find it enough cost savings to pay his own salary 3 times over.
Maybe that's part of it. He's just getting paid
Yeah,
whatever he can knock off the balance
He's
sheet at
got
the end of the
He's
financial
got a
year.
commission program. It's like, hey,
That's
look,
right.
you're comped on how much money you can save for the business.
But apparently, he's already been pushing them really hard on the testing side and has a lot of feedback.
Yeah, because they've got a
So-
new bike coming as well,
Yeah.
right?
They'll get that new bike working pretty well with him, I think, because
right.
Brendan the other day said, like, the engineer Ben already commented that, like, we've never had someone like this that really pushes us.
No,
That's
So-
good.
That's good to hear they got a
he's
new
got
bike,
some
'cause
spreadsheets, eh?
That old, I was thinking, oh, poor Benoit is going from like a proven bike to one that there's nothing fancy about that old Scott.
Yeah, this one looks interesting. It looks like it's a 6-bar
I don't think I've seen this
with
one,
a pivot around the bottom bracket
Yeah.
with like a low slung shock. It's kind of interesting.
And an idler and a
Yeah,
belt drive.
it'll have to have an idler on it.
and a
Well, I think
Yeah,
Benoit
fully.
does so much downhill that he's going to get the bike working or somewhat as best it can. You know, like even if it's not as good as the other one, he'll get it to a good level because he's just doing downhill all the time. Like, which is the new way the sport's gone, where everyone's just doing downhill all the time. You know.
He low key might be one of the funniest guys on Instagram. One of the funniest.
Yeah, I'm
downhill guys.
loving it.
He's
so
so
well
good.
done, eh?
I like
Yeah.
how he'd like before it all came out and he had like his head just photoshopped onto all these different riders of different teams of like, well, the rumors are saying I'm going here and here,
That's
and
good.
Yeah.
he's real good. Sets
a
himself up with his sneakers on and his like his team photos. Like you just knew something was coming from his dad's sneakers
Yeah, it
that
was
he had on.
some dad spec outfit that he was running.
So good. Do you know, is he aware that he's known as Ben from accounts?
I think he's quite aware because he was playing with it.
He was, yeah.
I
He's
love it.
doing a bunch of memes himself afterwards. And I don't know, maybe they were like, yeah, this press release photo will look good. And then realised it looked like Ben from accounts.
We
Awesome.
did
But-
have
But it worked better in the end anyway.
we did have an Instagram post if you go back a couple of years with his head photoshopped onto a guy sitting behind an accountant's looking desk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
with
So
Red
good.
Dog talking about how much he fucking loves Benoit from accounts. So
Yeah.
He's an OTB favourite, that's for sure.
yeah. And then going from Scott Marine Cabaroo to Kenyon. That'll
Yeah,
be
it's pretty good.
probably just a similar sideways move, I'd say. But
Yeah, and a good program. Like Burrell directs that program massively. So like,
yeah.
it'll probably be the first time she's had someone that tells her what to do almost. So that bit of guidance for some riders will help them quite a lot, rather than they're kind of second guessing as much.
Yeah.
Kenyon seems like a pretty safe place to be for anyone who's got
Yeah.
their head screwed on, eh? Like, so solid. The fact that Troy's been there for so long is pretty telling.
I think
I reckon if you weren't performing though, it would probably be
no,
a
you
tough
would
place
have
to
a
be.
rough
Yeah.
time if you're not doing well,
Fabian
and if you
would
don't
whip
know how to listen to feedback,
Yeah.
then you'd have a really hard time because there's a lot of people
Especially feedback from a like quite stern Frenchman.
Yeah.
who has won a lot.
Yes.
Do you think Fabian like hits his children?
Let's not go down that
His
route.
children being his riders.
Yeah, his riders. Sorry.
Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Steve Pete ate thingy's appendix.
Oh Jesus,
We know
you're
that.
on this
The
tangent
thing-
again.
The thing is, Fabian, he still hasn't done the wheelie competition with me because he can't wheelie. So, yeah. Lucas said he's like terrible at manuals, and then I hit him up in the interview and he's like, why did you ask this? Like, he wasn't happy with Lucas for throwing him in the deep end.
That's gold.
Same with Elliot Jackson. Elliot Jackson can't wheelie either.
Oh,
Is that right?
Yeah, I only just found that out recently.
Footy's from LA.
Yeah, because
12 o'clock, yo.
he posted this video of NBA players, and it was asking them if they can spin a ball on their finger. And there was some dudes, like I think it was like LeBron was like, nah, like can't do it. And you just expect like an NBA guy like that should just be second. He's like, it's like me with wheelies, and I was like, can you not wheelie? And he's like, no, I suck.
That's funny. Classic.
And then I guess the last question I had on that list, it's not really a team changes, but what's going on with you? You still riding GT?
Yeah,
this year?
it's still GT at the moment, and we're still ticking along. And I've got Dom Platt, the English rider that
saw
was
that.
on Atherton.
Yeah.
I've got him on the GT. I just got him a new bike the other day, so he's going to ride for my program, and then hopefully get a few more other kids on it as the season goes. You know.
So you must have been one of the only people that's weathered the storm of the GT. I guess it's not a shutdown, but it's more of a wind down.
Pause. Yeah,
pause.
that's what they're saying. But I don't know what that means yet. So
Yeah.
kind of riding out the wave and seeing when the pause comes.
Yeah. Oh well. Hopefully that doesn't come at all for you.
Reading between the lines, it's sort of like we've got a lot of stock. We still have to sell it, but we're not going to make it any more for a while. We'll see what happens when we sell the stock.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have an existing contract, so that's how I've weathered it a bit better.
And you guys have got a good bike as well that's been developed until pretty
Yeah,
recently,
I didn't
right?
want to ride another bike. I was like, I've just got like a bike that I'm really stoked with. I don't want to rush into changing to something that I'm not, you know?
When is Hans Ray on a lifetime contract?
He was, but it's on the pause as well. So
Was he on the pause?
no, his contract's still going as well, like mine. But we're riding the wave until
Hans will ride GT until he dies. It probably won't matter.
ride something else. It would be so sad.
Yeah,
man.
it
It would be like, yeah, we've just signed Hans Ray.
Yeah.
You imagine.
That'll be as bad
He's
as
77.
Like next year, Hans Ray's at Hardline.
Yeah,
on an Orco.
Yeah,
he's got to make a name for himself on the new bike. No?
yeah, up and comer.
He's coming back.
Man.
They're calling it Red Bull Hardline.
Oh, it's just a trials course.
No
Just
way.
like
Hans
wheelie
Ray.
hopping off all the drops.
He could
So
do
good.
that, but he'd be doing it on a GT Zaska.
Red Bull
I have to
Hardline.
say, shout out to Hanzo. He's the OG legend. Like,
Sure, yeah.
he's good. We had quite a few phone calls recently. He's pretty good buddy.
Yeah.
Have you
And
ever done much stuff with Hans Wyn?
Not enough for the fact we ride for the same brand, but it's just like the schedule's so busy, and then he's off doing his own like little video schedule. So
I'd put a request in for like a Hans and Wyn like adventure somewhere in like Mongolia. Like,
Yeah, it would
take
be
us
sick.
somewhere.
that's what he does.
totally
His
new.
videos.
Yeah, and they're amazing.
But
That
he's
stuff's
one of the
timeless.
few riders that has a house in Laguna Beach overlooking the sea. So he's
Yeah.
doing all right.
Yeah,
He's
that's
done okay. All right, Red Dog couldn't join us, but he sent us through some rapid fire questions. So I've got 6 questions, so I'm going to ask you guys 2 each, and we'll just see how this plays out. I'll start with Wyn. Who ends up with more World Cup wins, Jackson or Asa?
Whoa, that's a tough one.
I reckon they're going to battle it out.
I'm going to go for Asa at this point, but I think it's going to be a really good rivalry. So, and I'm pretty excited for it. Asa is younger and has already displayed like an insane level of like maturity in his racing to be able to qualify fastest at Hardline and then back it up with a solid run, not blow it. You know.
Yeah. It's hard
So-
to think that he's only like, I don't know what, 17
12.
years old at the moment. Yeah, 12. It's
Injuries
yeah.
will decide that battle, I think.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
hopefully they can both stay injury free and deliver us some good races. Because I'd love to see them come in and then race Loic for a bit, like before
Yeah.
Loic goes out. Be
That would be
unreal.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, what's one thing you would change about Hardline?
Bigger jumps.
Yeah. Just make it Rampage.
I was waiting for you.
Call it what it is.
I was waiting for you to say cancel it.
No, a serious answer. I'd do two things. I'd remove those fucking
No, you're
stupid
only allowed
jumps,
one.
and I'd make it a proper race course.
But then is it just a downhill track?
Yeah, and I'd put
It's
heaps of
Red Bull
money on
Easy
the line.
Line then.
Yeah. Oh, what was the call on Moi Moi TV? Red line.
Red
I
line
can't remember what it was.
Hard bull.
Red line, hard ball.
I
Red
would-
line, hard ball.
If I was Monster, I'd put a big money race on in New Zealand around the same time and make it a proper money pre-season downhill race.
The
I'd
Monster
call it
Millions.
I'd call it harder line.
Yeah.
Hardest
I'd
line.
call it money line or credit line.
Money.
Just call it what it is. Just be like, fuck, you can make $100,000 with this race.
Do you know what they should do? They should call it money line, and they should have like cash dangling between gaps. So if you can jump and you
100%.
can grab the cash, you keep the cash.
Yeah, and all the
Talking about
Monster
side
podium
shows.
girls you can fucking think of.
This one's a bit left field, but you wouldn't expect anything less from Red Dog. I'll give this one to you, Lester. Deloic, Loris, and Benoit have a hardline watch party on the French Riviera and sip wine every time one of their competitors gets taken out for the season.
I don't reckon they're sitting together, but I reckon they're in separate places watching the live feed and on WhatsApp just messaging each other. Another one down or another one bites the dust. You know.
I reckon Loic's got something in the contract that says I'm not going to hardline, and for every one of my World Cup competitors that gets knocked out, I get another $10,000. So like he's not only he's being smart, he's making money from other people.
Well, the rumor was last year Finn and Loic was supposed to be at Tassie, and they had Specialized tell Red Bull, "Hey, the new bike isn't ready. We can't have the guys there racing," because they just didn't actually want to go. What year was the pinnacle of New Zealand downhill racing? I guess this means like National Series racing.
Oh, National Series. Oh.
Yeah.
It has to be pretty early to maybe mid 2000.
Yeah, I reckon there's like this point of around maybe like 03 to about 07.
Yeah, those were the golden years.
Yeah.
I feel like after then. Sorry.
We were talking about this the other day. We thought we could have we thought we should do a TV, like a video. This would be great for Wyn TV actually, and we'd go around the pits and talk to all the juniors and would ask them to identify like what a C notch was. Do they know what cut bumpers are? Like cut bump stops. Welded, do you know how to weld a diff? And like all these sort of things used to go on before the National Series started.
Like it's practice day. You've just cracked your frame. What do you do? Whose dad do you call?
You head straight to the airport and find the local engineer.
Yeah. All right, Chris. What rider will benefit the most from their latest team move?
Not Eris.
Not so far, unfortunately.
Fuck, Red Dog's really set me up on this
He
one.
has. Need some timer music on you.
I'll come back to you on this one.
He's struggling.
It's rapid fire. You're out. All right, Lester. Last one. What is Richie Rude's top downhill finish this year?
Ooh, I'm going to go like an 8th, 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get any higher than that this year, but I think next year could be key.
It's not getting any younger though.
No, but
How old is he actually?
How old are we? 37. He must be like 33.
Really? No, I think he's younger. I think he's.
he was quite a bit younger than Cam when they were on Yeti.
It's true. He was a junior in South Africa World Champs, whatever year that was, 2012.
1995. He's 30.
I was only a few years past it.
30 is he's still got
30's
three
30's
good
pretty good
years
then. Yeah.
to go hard. Yeah.
All right, last one. We'll wrap it up. We had this discussion of I was watching Hardline and everyone's sitting at the top and it's all very quiet. There's no fans around at the top and there wasn't much going on. I thought Downhill needs a walkout song or like a start line song.
What?
You need something to like set the mood. And so we thought we'd all come up with a start line song. Seems like Chris might actually have something queued up, but then Lester thought we should guess what their walkout song is. But I don't know. Chris's might be Pink Pony Club. I'm not really sure.
How good's that tune?
Oh, this is Chris's.
Did you even hear that?
I can hear it. I don't know what it is, but
What
it's
is
good.
it?
This is look, I'm not a wrestling guy, but this is John Cena's walkout out song for WWE.
You're not a wrestling
Time
guy,
is
but
now.
you are. Yeah.
I'm just always, if I was going to have a walkout song for anything, and I could just have one walkout song for my entire life, like walkout song, funeral song, I could redo my wedding, maybe I'd try and work that in, but that's probably it. It's just John Cena's walkout song from WWE. There you go.
Can't say I've ever heard it before.
Nah, I
That's
haven't either.
disappointing.
Leicester. I don't know. Leicester's will be some hip hop or something, I reckon.
Oh,
Bruce.
you're pretty on the money, but I went through all sorts, and I'm just going to give you a little run through.
He's got a few, has he?
I was really struggling, but so we had Butter Done by
Chasing Status.
Jason Status, Skrillex Rumble, Bomb Track Rage Against the Machine,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, powerful.
Stinkfist Tool Stinkfist, Deftones Own Summer, I think it was called. Know Your Enemy by Rage.
Mate,
Jeez,
walkout song, not
you've got a
walkout
lot.
album.
Jeez, you've
I-
got a
well,
How long are you walking out for?
Became a walk-in playlist. You play it each round through the series. Anyway, here's where
It's
we
pretty
ended
old.
up.
That's for a while.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Dr. Dre, Bang Bang.
I've
That's
just
where we
got
settled.
a quick one that I would guess would be for UKB. This song always just reminds me of you. Name that video segment.
Oceania's 2006 in Rotorua. It was a web video that Tim Pearce and the guy who was making videos with did.
Yep.
Classic.
Classic section.
What we've all forgotten about, though, is any of those ones from Pusher.
There was some,
What
I would
should
give
all-
you one of my beers, but I've only got 6.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's Go Harness Racing.
Oh, Let's Go Harness Racing was a classic one.
That was iconic.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I don't
when
know if I'd want music playing in the start gate.
No, you're a silent man.
Yeah, I don't even listen to music headphones at the top. But
Yeah. You just have a podcast playing at the top out loud.
Sorry, I thought this was
Yeah.
just your,
OTB
your,
podcast
your
on.
walkout song, like just when you walk into the room for stuff.
Oh, I was thinking like when people are sitting at the start line, as they roll up to the gate,
Like
they
a
should have like some.
boxer, coming
Yeah.
into the room when
I
they're rolling
wasn't-
start gate.
See, I
I
think
was going to have, I was going to like categorize them. Like you've got a race day start line one, hype you up. You've got the warm up music. You've got the hey wifey, I'm home and it's Friday night and the kids are out walking music.
I think this is something that Red Bull could do. Like you were talking earlier about like the race itself isn't downhill race. It's not great for the average punter. They could do a lot more with like the start gate. You've got someone walking in for a wrestling match, just fucking fireworks that go off, and you enter the start gate and it's just all going nuts, and you got the countdown, and then you send off the gate, and your walk-in song starts, and like you can't concentrate, but that doesn't matter because it's made for TV anyway. So I'd be into that.
Sounds like you need a job at Warner Brothers.
Yeah. When we brought you in
Spice it up
late,
a little.
but have you got anything that you're not a music guy at Stargate, you said, but
I'd have AC/DC Hell's Bells. I think.
Oh, that's good.
Oh yeah,
rolling into the start gate, you know?
Yeah. You'd probably be manualing into the start gate, though.
That's what I'd like to see. Like the start gate's got like a big deck
Karaoke
that you
screen?
roll down, you walk down like a runway type thing,
Yeah.
and there's just fireworks going off and AC/DC going off, and the end of the start gate. Yeah, I'm into
Angus
it.
Young with the guitar in the crowd, you know?
Yeah, and then take it a step further, and you can have like your entourage in the start gate, so you can bring up
Bring
to
your boss in.
100 people,
Jesus.
like whoever you
I'll
want.
be honest, some people do have an entourage at the start gate at the World Cups these days.
Who's got the
It's
biggest
like-
entourage?
It's be one of the bigger teams. Like they have a lot of people there. Like they'll have mechanic, coach, someone else, like, and then they've got all their stuff. They've got the trainer and then some of the warm ups are ridiculous. Like some people are going crazy before the start.
Who's got the biggest posse, and why is it Commensal Makov?
I don't know whether it's the image that he creates, but I get the impression that Emery has like a big party posse that just follows him around and
Commensal Makov or Specialized Gravity.
Oh, yeah.
Specialized Gravity have their track guys, but they probably are at the top of the hill first before they go down on track to where they want to watch something.
Specialized is such a funny one because from the outside, it looks like there's about 5 people on the team, but then there's just all these people on the track, and I'm sure there's masseuses and.
But that's because Specialized is the Illuminati, right? Like this is the power rankings. They actually are paying everyone's salary.
They're a marketing company that sells bikes.
Like most of them, KB.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, well, it's like Norca is a drinking club with an off-road problem.
It's true.
I was actually thinking about this is
About
really
Norca?
getting off. Yeah, I was thinking about Norca, and I was thinking, why don't you just rename it Norba?
Well,
And it's like the New Zealand Norba.
I think that was the whole thing, is we ripped off Norba, but just by changing one letter.
Nah, because it was Norca because of the North Shore. No, what was it? The one around Whistler.
I don't know.
What's it
This
called?
has got real off tangent.
Walker. It was Walker, and we made it Norca.
Ah, right.
Is that where it came from?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wyn's just sitting here going,
Wyn's
what
got no
the
idea.
fuck
Wyn,
are
do
you
you know what
idiots
we're
talking
talking
about?
Are you naming your club?
yeah.
Well, Chris has moved to Nelson, and we decided we'd start the Nelson Off-Road Cycling.
No, Nelson Off-Road Club and Association.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think it was Outdoor Club and
Outdoor
Association.
club, yeah, it's general off-road outdoor activities.
Yeah.
All right.
Mostly involves
speaking
me
of
and Chris
which,
going to the pub.
do we need to drop something in about that Oktoberfest?
Yeah. There's a few things that we've got to leak today. Things that have happened in the last couple of weeks.
Things that have happened. Well, first one. So we are planning a OTB weekend away based around. We don't have an exact date. It'll be one of the first 2 weekends of October in Nelson. Reason for those weekends is because the North American World Cups are on. So we're planning to do something, a bit of a watch party, some shuttles and things like that. So, keep those dates free.
We've got an official pub supply.
So is it what, Brett?
We
You
might
have
have
to arrive in a HIACE with a lock diff to be involved?
Yeah,
or-
mandatory.
Yeah. Yeah.
With no
You
springs,
get
preferably.
extra points.
Also accepted will be Mazda bongos. Or some
Only
obscure
the flat nose ones.
some obscure 4-wheel drive van, like some weird off-road sort of that's barely surviving.
We're going to clear some space in KB's driveway in case you need to replace a clutch in your Honda Civic or something.
Yeah.
What I'm really interested though is the closing party in Ox's dad's garage in Blenheim.
We won't give Lester 2 beers because he'll shave his head. Not there's much left to shave.
There's nothing anymore.
Or how well Ox can drive his dad's car.
Maybe Ox should be the special guest. He can come along and play some tunes.
It could actually be our the little side thing that we do when we're not riding is see how far we can jump our cars over the Blenheim stop bank.
I thought
Not a
this
good
was
idea.
the side.
I think we're going to have to move this to Blenheim because there's too much to do in Blenheim rather than Nelson.
Yeah, that's right.
So KB, just remind me those dates. I've just got to schedule it in.
It was one of the first 2 weekends of October, whatever the Lake Placid or Mont Saint Anne World Cups are.
All right, perfect. Get in your calendars, folks.
Yeah.
Come on down.
We'll get some more info out when we actually get something organised. But
Pretty much come
Red
down.
Dog
come to
and
Nelson.
Red Dog and I have a brevet on that weekend.
Yeah, you're going to brevet all the way to Nelson.
Right.
Is it a Breve or a Fondo?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't received an
The
official
one
invite yet.
with less nudity.
Yeah.
So come to Nelson, hang out with us.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we're going to hang out, do some shuttles, maybe have a few beverages, and watch some downhill racing. Maybe I thought we could do some alternative commentary for those races as well.
Mean.
Live
Yeah,
alternative
good.
commentary.
That's good.
When can we schedule you in for a live cross? Or a live cross.
We'll just
If I'm there, yeah.
we'll just fly one over. Sure, it'll be fine, just for a weekend.
We might need to shout out our sponsors so that we get some more, and then we can have some money.
Yeah, should we shout out sponsors that we haven't actually confirmed so that we put them in a position where they're kind of already
They
obliged
have to.
Well, I haven't
Yeah.
told Mike this. Mike's the owner of the Prince Albert Hotel in Nelson, but
Yeah.
we are planning to have it at the Prince Albert Hotel.
Yeah.
So I do
So-
need to actually talk to Mike about that.
So at this point, without really them signing it off, they're our official pub supplier.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, it'll be
Pub
good.
supplier.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Good times.
should be fun. What other things did you have?
We acquired something last week. We purchased something after we'd had a few wines.
Yeah, Chris made an on-the-spot purchase in the weekend.
Lester, I don't know if you know about this.
Nope.
I'm bringing you guys in on this. We're the proud owners of a website domain, www.mtbhof.co.nz. So we are the closest thing to owning the New Zealand Mountain Bike Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
It starts here, guys.
We're going to start the Mountain Bike Hall of Fame. First year of inductees will be 2025.
Yeah, so there's two ways you can get into the Hall of Fame. Either you're JK or you pay your way in.
Self-nominated?
You can. When you can self-nominate for yourself, and we'll take that that'll get you in. But not many other people can self-nominate.
All right. Yeah.
Who would you
Sounds
nominate
quite
to be in the Mountain Bike Hall of Fame for New Zealand?
fair. Who do I nominate?
I mean, aside from yourself, that's done. We've signed that off.
Oh, I'd have to go with Vanessa Quinn.
Good.
Yes,
Oh,
good
yes.
choice. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Strong.
Well
New Zealand's second ever world downhill champion, because technically Scarlett won earlier that day. But first
But
ever
what a
elite
day.
world
What a
champion.
day it was.
That was
I
a
think
brilliant day of downhill racing. I nominate Hilsey.
I nominate Hilsey the Ute.
Has he got a front brake yet?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. Anyway,
Yeah, there's a
that's
lot.
another whole podcast.
Yeah, we have
But
to
do you think that our Mountain Bike Hall of Fame could have just as much cred as the World Mountain Bike Awards?
Yeah.
Yeah, what
a
are
lot,
those?
A lot more.
Do you have a red carpet?
No, we can get some.
We can get one.
We can find some red carpet.
We can
some
just
red
stain a
carpet.
white carpet.
Chris does love some red
Yeah.
wine.
I feel like we need a good philanthropic backer to help prop up the Hall of Fame.
We're going to have less social media influencers. We're going to have more people in the Hall of Fame who don't have social media accounts than people who do.
Well, JK does. Vanessa Quinn's the first. For us, has to be the first inductee if that's the case.
We're
It
going to
was
have
good
more
to
like
see
heads of.
JK at Hardline too. JK
Yeah.
was there.
Yeah.
Was he at Hardline?
He was
Yeah.
there
He
helping out
It was
Brooke
Brooke and
Tohoto.
Toto's linesman.
JK line.
Yeah.
Amazing.
JK's probably up there going, fuck, if I sent that on the M1, that thing would have torn a swing arm off.
He would have won
Just think
practice.
though, back in the day, that would have been up his alley, I'm sure.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
would have
but-
loved it.
Back in the day, Steve Pete and G. Atherton and a handful of others went to Rampage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
true that.
Cedric.
Yeah.
They were big, yeah. So, yeah.
Anyway, I
Good.
feel like we're going back in a circle here.
We've gone well and truly. We're all the way back to Hardline again, so that's probably a great time to call it a week. Thanks for joining us, Wyn. Great to have you back
No,
on again.
Thanks for having us. It's always good to have a bit of a yarn with the boys.
Yeah, and you've always got some great views on stuff as well. So it's always a good one to have you on.
Informed views, which is probably
Yeah,
the
much
most
more informed than ours.
We can do some during the season because I'll go to a few of the races. So then
Yeah,
we can
Brilliant.
fill you in afterwards of
That'd be great.
what we saw on site.
We can have Wyn on for race reviews, and he'll actually know what he's talking about.
You can be our mole.
I do like watching Hardline from the other side this time, and I was there last time. And then you want to know more,
Yeah.
about everything because you weren't there. And then I was just asking Jack, like, what happened to Brooks' shop or what happened to Brooks' bike off that drop? He's like, yeah, bro, he snapped 2 shock bolts, or like, and you're like, because you watch the video and you're like, well, something happened there.
That bike must have a problem because I got a message the first day he rode it about 500 meters into the Rotorua downhill track. It also snapped a shock bolt. So
yeah, it didn't look like it was tracking the ground particularly well.
They use cheese for the shock bolts.
That's handy. Eat them or a bit of Gouda or something.
Maybe there was a problem. It was eating.
But the cheese is good because it's easy to switch it out from park to free ride to World Cup race. Like, it can do everything.
Just different geometers of cheese.
All around it.
Yeah. But I did see some other bikes break as well, so we're not going to...
Well, there was a certain carbon lugged bike that tore a seat stay out of it by the looks of things. So...
Yeah, they probably won't be following up with a full-fledged Pink Bike story on how the prototyping process works after that one. At this point, they're just going, we'll keep these breakages under wraps, guys. Cheers.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Thanks to Maxxis Tyres and Fox Suspension for bringing you guys this podcast as well. Absolute legends. Both of those people have been around in the New Zealand scene for a long, long time and continue to support it, which is awesome. So go and make sure your bike has Maxxis on it and Fox, of course. And yeah, we'll see you in... I actually don't know. I haven't really thought it out.
A week?
Maybe a week or two.
Special shout out to ChatGPT as well. We'll check back in and see what it says about the podcast in a week's time.
Oh, yeah, just as a closing feature. Actually, closing feature, I've got to read this out. I asked ChatGPT to roast the podcast, and we'll sign the podcast off with this because it was pretty good. Said the OTB podcast, you mean that chaotic mix of bro science, half-baked hot takes, and questionable bike opinions? If there was ever a podcast that embodied the phrase send it first and think later, it's this one. It's like they took the collective wisdom of Pink Bike comment sections, ran it through a filter of mid-ride dehydration and hit record. Between the endless derailments and inside jokes that only make sense if you've been concussed as many times as they have, it's a miracle they ever finish an episode. And let's be real, if you're tuning in for an expert bike tech advice, you're better off asking the guy at the trailhead with mismatched tyres and a creaky bottom bracket. But if you love a good rant, unfiltered bike gossip, and the occasional nugget of actual mountain bike knowledge buried under layers of nonsense, OTB delivers just like a poorly timed endo into a rock garden. It was pretty on the money.
Yeah, I resent the bro science, but otherwise I think it's about right.
Yeah.
The funniest thing when you sent it to us, I didn't open the whole image up. And I started reading it, and I was like, "Oh man, we're getting rolled on Vital or something like that, or a Pink Bike or somewhere." I thought it was actually someone's comment, and then I was like, "No!" And then I opened it up to see the rest of it, and then I realised ChatGPT. So.
Yeah, I was like, "Fuck!" It's actually it's just really skimmed through all the episodes and put something together pretty quickly. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, I wonder who this fucker is that's written that.
Yeah,
not AI. It's a person. It's a
Sam Altman.
And with that, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, boys.
G'day.